you have like this top tier thing that you do. So mine is being a DP, right? But then under that, I have an editor, and then I have a cam op, and then I have BTS, and then I have YouTube. So your top is what you ultimately want to get to or do, but then you have to find other sources and other streams from there to maximize what you do. And so behind the scenes is just another way that you're maximizing who you are ultimately as a creator. So with the increase of people contacting me and asking me a lot more about behind the scenes and how they can get into that world, I felt like it was only right to create this video to help you all out. So I came up with 5 tips on how you can get more into shooting behind the scenes. So let's get into it. First tip is figure out what kind of behind the scenes that you want to actually do. There's a difference of shooting behind the scenes for music videos and commercials and films or whatever it may be. And you know, there's times where I've seen behind the scenes on social media and it looks different than behind the scenes for actual film. Because when you think about it, the film behind the scenes, it should be an extension of the film. It's more of a documentary. And so you really need to know what kind of behind the scenes you want to do and how you want to market yourself and what kind of brands you want to even shoot behind the scenes for, because it might require a different level of editing or a different level of, you know, how to go about shooting it. And so you really have to go in and figure out how you want to market yourself with what kind of behind the scenes that you're looking to get into. Tip number 2 is social media is so important. And I say that because majority of my work comes from Instagram. And I honestly know that that is a fact. And so with that, not majority, a lot. And so with that, you want to make sure that you are posting your work. People won't hire you if they have no work to see. I barely get hired for certain DP jobs if I have no work in that specific category. So if you're trying to shoot behind the scenes, you got to post some kind of work. It doesn't necessarily have to be behind the scenes, but it needs to be some kind of work that shows story, that shows your ability to create, to shoot well, to shoot nice, and put it all together. Like, that in itself, if you're a filmmaker, go out and shoot something and put it out there. Like, create a reel of some of your best work so that, you know, people are seeing like your brand and what that looks like. So social media is so important because you never know who's actually watching your content. And so you want to just make sure that you're always creating so whoever is watching and whoever sees it can see the type of creator that you are. That leads us to tip number 3 is LinkedIn is just as equally powerful because you want to make sure that your resume is up to date. LinkedIn is the business side of Instagram. So you have Instagram and it gives you more of this visual reference of you as a creator. And then you have LinkedIn, and that's where you're getting jobs. That's where people are going and talking business, and you know, you're being able to actually have like more of a portfolio in a sense. So they're seeing all the people that you've worked for. And so being able to have both of those is going to like really help you. You never want to like only focus on one area of how you can get jobs anyway. And so having an Instagram, having a LinkedIn, make sure that your website is up to date, because websites are not obsolete at all. So make sure that your website is up to date. You have a nice flow. People can get to see your work as easy as possible. Tip number 4, you got to tell people, because if you've never done BTS or you've only been a DP and you've only been an editor and now you're trying to like, you know, get into this new position, no one will know if you don't tell them. And you can expect for them to just throw your name out there if they don't know. 99% of my work comes from me telling people what I do and then them knowing and recommending me. So you have to tell people. It's so important. Hey, you know, I'm looking to get into behind the scenes. So if you have any work where you need a BTS photographer or you need a BTS shooter, I would love to be a part. You gotta tell people. No one's mind readers, and they won't really know specifically from your LinkedIn or your social media that you want to get into this until you put it out there in the world that you're trying to get into this. So just make sure that you tell people, hey, I want to get more into shooting behind the scenes. If there are any opportunities, please like consider me for it. That's it. Like, you have to put that out there. Reach out to small production companies. Reach out to your friends who are shooting films and say, hey, if you need BTS, I would love to shoot. whether it's a photographer or a BTS videographer or a cam op, you want to be a part of their process and their films and their commercials. Start small. You don't have to go really big just yet. You can start on smaller projects. I started with my friend who was doing personal projects. Make sure that you can, if you can, reach out to smaller production companies, and then just tell them that you shoot behind the scenes, and then you can show them some of your work. Another thing that you can do is go on IMDb and type in some of your favorite films and see who did the behind the scenes. One thing that I like to do is every time I go and see a film, me and my best friend stay for the credits, and I always check to see who shot behind the scenes, whether it's a name or a company, and that way I can look them up and try to connect with them. So, making sure that you can be a part of that is super important for this journey that you're going to be getting into when it comes to behind the scenes. And the last tip is going to be about rate. But before I get into that, I do want to say I am not going to give you a number. I don't feel like it is right to give a number, because to each his own. And so with that, I also don't want you saying, well, Brittany told me that to charge this. I didn't tell you to charge nothing. But I also feel like it depends on the project. There's been projects that was 2 months, 1 month, 3 days, 1 day, shooting behind the scenes. Like, you can't really just say, hey, I'm gonna charge you $10,000 for 1 day and then charge $10,000 for a week. Like, you really need to look at the project, what they're asking for. Is it in your hometown or is it away? Do you have to travel? What that looks like. Like, one thing I will say for tip number 5 is when you're coming up with rate, just think about the benefits of why you should be a part of this. If you feel like it's really going to help you, sometimes I might ease off a little bit on the price. Sometimes I don't. It really just depends. But the thing I will say is when it comes to your rate, make sure that your day rate, of course, is in there. I don't know, everybody has a different day rate. So for me, I like to charge my DP rate if I can, but sometimes I work with budget. Sometimes it really just depends. So knowing what the average rate for a cam op or a shooter or a DP is, and figuring out what you're comfortable with charging based on your skill level. But adding in your kit fee, what that looks like. And one thing that helps me with trying to figure out, when I was doing it early on, trying to figure out a kit fee, is I would go online to a rental house and I would create and see how much it would cost to rent out the same equipment that I had. And then from there, I will create an estimate for myself based on the equipment that I did have. So if you have a Komodo and you go to a rental house online and it says it's $250 a day to rent a Komodo, then maybe price yours starting at $250 or $300 with accessories, and then figure out even more, okay, these are the lenses I have, this is the light that I'm bringing. Like, build kind of from there for your kit fee, day rate. Also, are you editing this or are you not editing this? I always try to push to edit because I shot it. So I know I can create a really dope edit for it as well. So all of those things play a huge part in coming up with your rate. And then also knowing that when you're first starting off, it is okay still to gain experience, because sometimes experience is better than money. I'm not saying do anything for free, but just figure out what's important. Whether you can go a little lower on your budget for the experience to be on the set, really figure that out for yourself. Early on, when I didn't have anything to show, I did do a lot of things for free shooting behind the scenes. And then it got me to a great place. That might not be for everybody. So you really have to figure out what works for you, which is why no one should be giving a specific rate. It really depends on what works for you and where you are in your creative career right now. So those are all the tips. Hopefully they really helped you all. Let me know if you also have any more questions. I am determined to get people in behind the scenes, especially, to be honest, Black people, because there are not a lot of people like us in behind the scenes. And I've heard that so many times when I get hired on, especially Black women. And so my goal is to not only help everybody get into behind the scenes, but definitely help my brothers and sisters get into behind the scenes, because it is such a fun and amazing career, and another way to just gain, get money, to be honest. Like, that 7 streams of income, to me, it's always about, you have like this top tier thing that you do. So mine is being a DP, right? But then under that, I have an editor, and then I have a cam op, and then I have BTS, and then I have YouTube. So your top is what you ultimately want to get to or do, but then you have to find other sources and other streams from there to maximize what you do. And so behind the scenes is just another way that you're maximizing who you are ultimately as a creator. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Hopefully this really helped y'all out. I'm really trying my hardest to help y'all when it comes to this and to help y'all in general. So please let me know if you have any questions. Make sure that you like this video, share this with your friends, and make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel. Please put questions down below if you have any, or hit me up, message me on IG, something. Like, I'm always down to help. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.